Hey folks, this is Kalani. We finally have an official release date for the pre-patch of Dragonflight, and we also have a better idea of when everything will become available, so you can plan out everything you might want to get done in the last month or so of Shadowlands. We'll see the new talent system overhaul, the new user interface changes, there's a special event to look forward to, and we should be able to level up and gear up faster than ever. There's a lot to look forward to and a lot to break down, so let's go through everything coming in the Dragonflight pre-patch. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Let's start by talking about release dates, because we actually have two release dates to go over. The pre-patch will launch on October 25th, as many had already suspected, right as Season 4 comes to an end. But that first update will not include everything. It's going to be Phase 1 of the pre-patch. Phase 2 will come a bit later on November 15th, and will include quite a lot of the fun stuff, so we're going to have to wait a bit longer before we can play an evoker, for example. That's quite disappointing, but at least we have dates now, so we know what we're working with. So let's go through what each phase contains and when we'll have access to the various pre-patch activities. Phase 1 of pre-patch will go live on October 25th, so that's only a week away from when this video goes up. We really don't have too much longer to wait. Perhaps the largest change coming in Phase 1 is the huge talent overhaul. This is kind of going to tip a lot of classes on their head, because alongside the talent system, we also have a lot of changes to how classes work and what abilities they have baseline and where they get their new abilities from. Most of it is going to be tied into the talent trees, and we have two trees to work with. A class tree, which is shared across every spec available to your given class, and then a spec tree, which is specific to your specialization. You'll get points to put into both trees, so you want to fill them up with all the best abilities and points and nodes you can afford and see how everything works. The way these talent trees are laid out means you usually can't take everything at once, so you'll need to play around with builds that focus on single target damage, another build for AoE, maybe another in-between build for dungeons. Go crazy with it, make as many as you want. Pre-patch is the best time to tinker around with these new talent trees and see what fun builds you can come up with. Classes are changing a lot going into Dragonflight, so I'd play around with as many as you can to really get a feel for how they're going to play. There are some neat features in the talent trees too, like the ability to search for talents or effects, you can import and export talent builds, and of course you can save all your presets so you never have to build them from scratch ever again. There are also some huge changes to leveling in the pre-patch. To start with, Chromie time is going to be extended to work all the way up to level 60. This means you can play through any expansion's content up to the current max level of 60, so you don't have to go through Shadowlands if you don't want to. Previously, Chromie time would only work up to 50, and then for 50 to 60 you would have to go through Shadowlands, either via the main storyline once again or through the Threads of Fate option. Either way, you were pretty restricted when it came to leveling options, but with Chromie time now extended up to 60, you can do almost whatever you want in any expansion. That's a great change in my opinion, and I'm glad that they're keeping Chromie time relevant as more expansions are added into the game. In addition, Shadowlands is being added in as a Chromie time option, so if you really love Shadowlands and how it all works, you can actually go straight into the Shadowlands leveling experience at level 10 and level all the way up to 60 in that one expansion, so a lot more choice with how to level, which will hopefully make leveling much more interesting. Now, there was supposed to be a huge experience requirement change in the pre-patch as well. I honestly don't think the shift around with Chromie time works properly without the experience requirements change, so I do believe we will see that make its way into the pre-patch sometime, but it hasn't been mentioned anywhere just yet. Assuming it does arrive with Phase 1, we will see about a 60% reduction in overall experience required last time I checked, which will make leveling incredibly quick in the pre-patch overall. So no matter which leveling path you decide upon, you should be able to level quite quickly if that's something you're interested in. There is actually something new for the PvPers in pre-patch too. What a surprise! The brand new solo rated option will become active in Phase 1 of the pre-patch, so if you've always wanted to jump into rated PvP content but didn't really want to have to find a group or work together with a group, the solo shuffle mode will now also have a rated option. You can jump in all by yourself, carry your team to victory, and climb through the ratings to earn yourself some sweet rewards. You'll be able to earn seasonal rewards and achievements, credit towards vicious mounts, weekly Great Vault progress, and you can also earn conquest to buy that sweet rated gear. This will probably end up being a huge change for the start of Season 1 in Dragonflight, but you get to tinker around with it early in the pre-patch. Alongside all of these new gameplay options, the pre-patch will also introduce a brand new user interface. You may have seen this quite a few times in beta videos, or maybe you've popped onto the beta already to play around with it, but the entire base user interface for World of Warcraft is getting a facelift with some much needed additional functionality. We have new visuals for player portraits, action bars, and even the minimap, and you can move almost anything around, resize it, customize your bars, and what information you want to be front and center. It is a super interesting update overall. I actually think with the clean new look and the ability to customize the UI, the base interface is really all you need now, and you'll get to play around with all these changes when the pre-patch hits live servers. To get into the edit mode, all you need to do is press escape or go into your settings, and edit mode is a new option right there on the main menu. And then as a little bonus, more related to Season 4 rather than Dragonflight, all 3 Shadowlands raids will now be fated at the same time, so you don't have to worry about which raid might be fated this week or next week or which raid you're heading to. All 3 will be fated, which means you can run all 3 within the same week. This is going to be great if you haven't gotten some of your boss kills in for achievements and rewards, or you just need a couple extra kills for your next diner. Whatever the reason, all 3 fated raids will be active at the same time during pre-patch. Now, it's not all good news, I'm afraid. There are some things going away in the pre-patch that will surely be missed. The main thing is going to be set bonuses. The current class sets from the Sepulchre are the first ones, or, from the Creation Catalyst. The set bonuses we've been using in Shadowlands since the Sepulchre raid first opened, those ones, they will actually be retired when the pre-patch arrives. You can still use the gear, and all the stats will still work, but the set bonuses themselves will be disabled. That also means we won't get to use them while leveling throughout Dragonflight, which is a bit of a shame, but for these last few weeks of the Shadowlands expansion, we will once again be set bonusless. That does give us a more accurate look at how our classes will play with the previously mentioned class and talent changes though. Learning everything with the set bonuses in play might throw you off a bit later on when they are disabled, but honestly I think the dev team just wants to leave Shadowlands behind in its entirety, the set bonuses included. We'll have brand new set bonuses to work towards and collect when we all hit max level in Dragonflight. Now that's everything you can expect to see in the first phase of this pre-patch, but as we head into phase 2 on November 15th, quite a few extra features will be unlocked. To start with, the pre-patch event will kick off. You'll start to see elemental invasions in 4 specific zones. There will be earth invasions in the Northern Barrens, fire invasions in Tirisfal Glades, storm invasions in Ungoro Crater, and water invasions in the Badlands. During the event, primalist and elemental mobs will spawn in specific areas marked on the map. When the elemental lord bosses spawn in, nearby mobs become empowered and will drop a new currency, Primeval Essence. This currency can be used to purchase item level 252 catch-up gear from event-specific vendors, and the Elemental Lord bosses also drop the gear themselves, so you have multiple chances to get your characters all geared up. If you kill each of the 4 Elemental Lords, you will earn a special feat of strength achievement tied to the pre-patch event, so if you're an achievement hunter, be sure to take part in each of the 4 invasions when the event starts. In addition to this, each Elemental Lord has a chance to drop one part of a brand new heirloom trinket. You'll need to combine the dimmed primeval earth, fire, storm and water together to earn the unstable elemental confluence heirloom trinket. With this being an heirloom trinket, that means it will be useful for any future leveling up adventures, though it probably won't see any use for the actual Dragonflight expansion. The effect does sound quite useful though, so be sure to pick this up for some extra fun while leveling alts later on. As part of the pre-patch event, the new Uldaman dungeon reboot will also be made available. You can venture into the Legacy of Tyr dungeon during Phase 2, which will provide you with a bit of a nostalgia hit if you were playing way back in the day, but also provide some extra story and context as we head into Dragonflight. There are some secrets buried deep within Uldaman, and we won't be the only ones trying to take advantage of them. The Uldaman dungeon is also available at max level in Dragonflight and will probably turn into a Mythic Plus dungeon in a future season of the expansion, so it's fun to get an early glimpse of one of the brand new dungeon adventures that await in Dragonflight. Phase 2 will also be when the dracthyr evokers finally awaken from their long slumber over on the Dragon Isles, and we'll get to create and play our evokers during Phase 2 of Dragonflight's pre-patch. So we can get them through the starter experience where we learn all about the dracthyr, who they are, and what their purpose is, and then we can get them leveled up, maybe geared up a bit in the shiny pre-patch event, all ready to tackle the Dragon Isles adventures alongside everyone else. Evokers play quite differently from other classes, so much so that you actually have to acknowledge the fact out during character creation, where it warns you that evokers are an advanced class, which is kind of funny. They're very fun to play, and seeing as we can pick them up during pre-patch, there's no reason not to create at least one and see what kind of dragon you'd want to make. I do believe you'll need to have Dragonflight pre-ordered to be able to create and play a dracthyr evoker when the time comes, so just bear that in mind if you're still on the fence about playing Dragonflight. I do think it's quite disappointing having to wait so long for one of the major selling points of Dragonflight, especially considering it was supposed to be part of the pre-patch, and while I guess it still technically is, it would have been interesting in my opinion to have more new things to tinker about with as we wait for Dragonflight to release fully. I think the same thing goes for the events. I don't see anything particularly positive about waiting to start up the pre-patch events. They're new, they have some interesting rewards, and it would help to pass the time for the last leg of Shadowlands. I know that the Fated Raids are all going to be active at the same time, and while that certainly helps you knock out some of those last minute deadlines, it doesn't really add anything new. I'm not too surprised that the event is delayed a little bit though, considering it hasn't really been tested at all, so it might not actually be ready for phase 1 of pre-patch. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's how pre-patch is going to unfold, and everything coming with the 2 phases of pre-patch for Dragonflight. What are you most excited to play around with? The new talent changes, maybe the user interface overhaul, or will you just be waiting for the new event and the new evoker class later on? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and everyone subscribed on Twitch. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.